Hi, I'm James with British Customs. Today I'm going to show you how to install a retro taillight. I'm going to show you how to install front and rear turn signals on this Bonneville T120. The front turn signals will be in the stock location. The rear we're going to install on the shock mount. So first thing we want to do is going to loosen this up. Use our 3mm Allen. Slide this out. I'm going to use our 3mm Allen on there, 10mm socket. Get those apart. I'm going to pull our wires through the larger hole. And then this little shoulder there should slip right into that hole. Put the bolt back in there. Lock washer and the nut. Three millimeter Allen, 10mm socket. Tighten that up. Put that in there. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. The 3mm, 10mm. Now you just need to make sure you want it to be a mirror image of this. So you got to come in the right way with it. So first thing we want to look at, we want to make sure that this screw is facing down when you put it on the bike. So when you're looking at this is going to be our right rear turn signal. So when we're putting it together, we're going to have our screw, put the lock washer, the big flat washer, goes through like that, and then the lock washer this way, and then it's going to screw into the bike that way, and this will land right behind the shock. So right here is where we're screwing into. So now we can use our 5mm Allen. So when setting this up here, we try to keep everything kind of as straight as we can. And then you can tighten this up once you have it aligned using our 4mm Allen. That'll keep it locked in place. So the big thing is to make sure you have them both angled the same. Just make it look right. So again, screw is on the bottom. So now I want to run the screw, put the lock washer, the flat washer, and this way. Star washer. So I just like to look through and make sure they look the same. And that looks pretty good right there. And we can tighten this one. Okay. Slide that up through there. So now, at that point, we'd put our fender back on. You'd either have to run our harness, plug it in back here, or an extension to get you back to the stock taillight, if that's what you prefer. But at this point, you can put the fender back on. And then our turn signals, I'm going to plug in put the black to the black, and then the yellow one will go to the other one. And if for some reason the left turn signal turns on your right turn signal, we just need to switch these wires, that's all. Okay, test it out. Got left turn signal, right turn signal. Hazards. So now we want to put our rear fender back on here. And so with the shock mount turn signals, this guide, it interferes with the turn signal mounts and you can't get the fender back on. So this mount needs to be removed. This really doesn't need to be there. The only thing that this for is a security feature so they can't just reach under and pull the lever and pop your seat off. But it does not stop the lock from working at all. So we are going to remove it. And if you come under here, there's two little plastic buttons right there that hold it on. Better to remove from this side so you don't scratch the outside. And sometimes they pop right out, and sometimes they give you a hard time. There you go. So now we can bring our fender in. Our T30. That screw in. Get that screw in. Now the 2 screws on the right side, I'm going to put the screws that came in the kit. So in the kit you got 2 screws that we're going to put into this spot here. The long one goes in the back, the short one goes in the front. Okay. This is a 4mm Allen. Same in the back, 4mm. So now that we got the fender installed and held up, I can take out the 2 front screws. You can see that these come further out, the 2 screws that we put in there. So I'm going to take the 2 front screws out so we can route this wire so it comes out here. And then that's what the Adele clamps that are in the kit come for. They're going to bolt onto these 2 screws that we just put in and hold that wire harness up into the fender. So this way. There you go. So I'm going to put the first clamp on. You want the hole to the outside of the bike. Squeeze that on there. Then we're going to take the nut. Screw that on. And just to show you the way that this goes, you know, you want the flat portion to go towards the fender. If you put it this way, you're gonna like totally squish the clamp. You want it to stay round so when it squeezes together, it doesn't pinch the wires, it just holds them in place. So now we can tighten this one up. Use a 10mm. You shouldn't have to hold the screw because it's going through a threaded portion already, but just in case, use a 4mm Allen and hold it. Okay, so now we can put this one on the back here. Okay. Squeeze it together. 10mm socket. So now this little black plug goes in right here. You have to keep the rubber in there. The hole's too big for this. The only way it's going to hold it is with the rubber on it. So it doesn't hurt to put a little bit of a grease on there. Not a ton, just enough to help you push it in there. All right, so now we're going to assemble our retro taillight onto the license plate. One thing we got to do to put this on the bike, we're going to have to get to these screws to tighten it. So we're going to take the plate off. Pull these two screws out for now. Don't lose them. Now with our 5mm Allen, we're going to take the screws out here. And take our light, remove the two screws that are in it. I'm going to run light like that. I'm going to get the two screws that came in the kit and replace those two screws we just took out. Using our 3mm Allen. Install those two screws. Okay. So now we're ready to install the light. I'm going to run our wires through there. You want to make sure your license plate light window is facing down towards the plate. You have this groove here. The wires need to go through that. So 5mm Allen, get that one screw started. We'll get the other one. Keep an eye on your wires, make sure they're not getting pinched. Should be able to move them before you do any final tightening. Okay. So now we want to stick our harness through the hole there. Line up these two holes and use the two screws that were installed previously to mount. Use the washer and the lock nut. Now with a 4mm Allen and a 10mm socket, you can tighten these down. Before you make it too tight, just step back and look and make sure that it's straight. Then you can tighten it down. So now we want to take the shrink tube that came in the kit. I'm going to slide it over. And then we can plug these two together. And now we can slide the shrink tubing over. Plug like that. And then we can slide the whole harness this way now so it's nice and straight. Do the same thing over here. And then we can pick it up. And then we can pull it this way now. So now it's all nice and straight. And we just bring it up. This way. Keep it all nice and neat up there. And now we just got to take a heat gun and shrink the shrink tubing over the plug. Okay, test it out. Got left turn signal, right turn signal, hazards. Got brake light from the front, brake light from the rear, a license plate and running light all working. So that's good. You don't want to keep this in one spot for too long. Remember, you're dealing with a painted fender. That's all we need right there, just to help keep it clean. So we're going to get our license plate screwed back on. Get the screws from the back, put your flat washer, lock washer, and your nut. Okay, so with our 4mm Allen, hold the screw, tighten the nut with a 10mm socket. So the last thing we need to do is we're going to install these here to take the place of the guide and use cable ties to hold that in place. Just want to clean it because they are put on with a foam tape. So just to make sure it sticks, rub it down with a little alcohol. And you peel the back off. And I'll start with the first one. Right about there. Get another one over here. I'll get one more right in there, and since my fingers are too big, I'm gonna just stick the cable tie through there to hold it. While I put it in place. Okay. This first one up here could be a little tricky, it's a little tight. One. Two. Now we'll just clip those off. So now you just want to make sure your wires are nice and neat. You know, if you have some extra cable ties around, you could tie them up if you need to. Maybe a piece of electrical tape if you feel it's necessary. Big thing, just make sure they're not in the way where they're going to get pinched by the seat or anything like that. So to install our front turn signals, for one, we want to make sure you're putting the right one on the right side and the left one on the left. The screw should be facing down when it's mounted. So it's going to mount like this. So now the screw is down. These are 4mm Allen. I'm going to loosen that up so we can pull this out. 4mm Allen, or 10mm socket. Get that apart. So now the wires go through the front hole, the bigger hole. The adapter, that little sleeve right there, should fit right into that hole. And we can put that screw back in there. Get our lock washer and our nut back on. So using our 4mm Allen, 10mm socket, tighten that up. I can pop the light back on there and snug up the screw with our 4mm Allen. You can get it plugged in. Black, go to the black wire, red wire, yellow will go to the green one. Just tuck that back into the headlight. Get our screw and our washer. Put them in. Our 12mm socket, tighten that up. Now we can aim our turn signals the way we want them. And tighten that screw, 4mm Allen. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So again, we want to make sure we're putting the right one on the right side. Screw is facing down. So when that's installed, that'll be proper. Get our 4mm Allen, loosen that screw. So we can pull this out. Again with the 4mm Allen, our 10mm socket. So you want to put your wires through the front hole, which is the larger one. This little sleeve here is going to go right through that hole, keep everything aligned nice. Put the screw back through. Our lock washer, and our nut. So our 4mm Allen, 10mm socket. Tighten that up. We can pull this up, get it on there. Use our 4mm Allen, snug it up. the wires plugged back in. Black goes to black. The yellow, red will go to the green. There we go. Now we can stuff these wires back in. Got a bit of extra wire with the new lights, but there's a lot of room in that headlight, so it's not a problem. We can put our screw back in. 12mm socket. Tighten that up. Turn that the way we want it to be. Use a 4mm Allen. Tighten that up. Got our left turn signal, front and the rear. Got our right turn signal, front and the rear. Got our hazards. We're good to go.